Good morning again. This is Wayne Cameron with part two of my discussion of how to build confidence as a trumpet player. Now, the first part we talked about being a perfectionist and how to gain confidence and not freak out when you make a mistake. Now, the second part, we're going to talk about some of the physical characteristics that affect your performance in a negative way. Now, if you say you're not nervous when you have a performance, especially a solo performance, you're lying. There's no way that could happen. You spend thousands of dollars on an instrument, maybe thousands of dollars on private lessons and music, hours and hours spent perfecting your piece, and you really think you don't really care how it goes. I mean, that's not rational. We all care about how it goes, and it's always in the back of your mind, always. So don't lie to yourself and say, I don't care. Also, don't lie to yourself and say, well, this time I'm not going to be nervous. As soon as you say that, you erect another barrier to get over. Okay? Accept the fact that you're going to be nervous. Now, there's a difference between being nervous and scared. To be nervous actually is an advantage because it makes you really alert. It makes you a little stronger. All the decisions you have to make as a musician, you have to be alert and awake. I mean, there's so many things that have to go on. Intonation, rhythm, I mean, the list is endless. And it has to be done right now. You're not like an artist that can paint a picture. If he didn't like it, he scrapes it all off and does it again. I guarantee you, if artists had to do their painting in public and they only got one shot at it, they wouldn't be too comfortable with that. But we as performers, unless you make it recording and all the things are spliced together, we have to do it live. Okay. Now, when you get nervous, there are several things that happen. You all know what the fight or flight syndrome is, right? When your brain perceives stress or threat, it gears up to either run away, flight, or fight. Now, performance anxiety is not life-threatening, although some people may feel it is, but the same reaction goes off. And what happens is the body automatically shifts into stressful mode. Now, one of the first things that happens is your digestive system shuts down. Look it up. I've already done the research for you. Saliva formation is one of the primary parts of the digestive system. So once your body reaches a certain stressful level, saliva formation stops. Now let's just put it in perspective. Let's say you're being chased by a lion. Your digestive system at that moment is not real important. It's not important right now that you digest that Big Mac you just had. Your purpose right now is to run for your life. So your body tenses up, runs for its life. Now that's the same reaction you get when you're stressed out when you have to play a solo. It may not be as intense as a lion chasing you, but it's the same response. Okay? Now, the other thing that happens is you get butterflies. We all get butterflies. If you say you don't, come on, man. Let's be real, all right? Now, most people try to stop butterflies. And the way they try to stop butterflies, and it's almost instinctive, is they tighten their abs, thinking that's going to stop the butterflies. Well, it doesn't. It doesn't stop it. What it does for a wind player is you tighten your abs, you can't take a good breath. Okay? All right. Then the other thing is your hands may start to shake. Well, that disturbs a lot of people. But the reason your hands shake, there's a reason for that. Your body's trying to release stress and tension. You watch the Olympic runners or swimmers, they're going around doing all this all the time. That's not for show. They're trying to release tension and get their body relaxed so they can do their thing. Well, we need to do the same thing. If your hands start to shake, let them shake. The more you relax it, the less they'll shake. Okay, now let's go back to saliva flow. Drinking water for dry mouth is probably the worst thing you can possibly do. And the reason is this. When you drink water, it washes out any residual flavors you may have in your mouth from eating or whatever. And when that water's gone, your mouth is even drier. And the more water you drink, you think it's helping you, it's not in the long run. It may help for a few seconds, but in the long run, it doesn't work. The better thing to do is to sip something with a flavor. As soon as you put flavor in your mouth, it triggers the digestive system and the saliva flow begins to happen. Now, I've known professionals. I knew one guy who used to sprinkle salt on his music stand. And if he experienced dry mouth, he would just go get one grain of salt and nonchalantly put it on his tongue. It would go whoosh. I knew a guy who kept a cough drop on the side of his teeth. It kept him going. Rafael Mendez, the great Mexican virtuoso, I was told by someone who had hired him to play with their band back in the 50s, that he kept a big wad of bubble gum in his cheek. He looked like a professional baseball pitcher. Now, this is a great artist, and he needed wet mouth, right? Okay. So you can use your own thing. What I did when I was younger is I have these little bottles I had designed by a medical company that have different types of sprays in it. I would use watered down apple juice. But what happened was, I began to get a lot of experience, so I didn't have dry mouth very much. But I used to keep one in my shirt pocket, and it's almost like psychological. I knew that if I had dry mouth, I could use this little bottle, squirt a little apple juice in my mouth, and it'd be fine. So as long as I carried that bottle, that was my security blanket. I will tell you a funny story though. I was doing a workshop at a high school in Maryland, and I was having to talk a lot as well as play, so my mouth got dry from talking. So what I did, I pulled my bottle out and squirted some in my mouth, and after I finished my workshop, one kid came up to me and wanted to know why I was drinking valve oil, because it looked like a valve oil bottle. And I told him it made me tongue faster, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, anything with a flavor. But if you're going to try that, make sure that whatever you drink is room temperature. Don't drink something cold and make your muscles tense up. So a lot of my students do that when they have recitals, like senior recital or something like that, and it works like a charm. But try to make it as unobtrusive as you can. Don't take a jug out there and tilt it up. Okay, now let's talk about your breathing. As soon as the butterflies start and you tense up your abs, you cannot take a breath from down low. Now, if you remember one of my sessions, I talked about breathing from down low and all this kind of stuff. If you're tensing up your abs to stop your butterflies, you cannot take a good breath. You'll breathe right about here. Now, I know that most of you who are listening to this, especially a young player, will remember the last time that you had a performance that did not go well. You couldn't breathe. Your breath was terrible. You couldn't make the phrases that you'd planned to have. You couldn't make it. You felt like you were hyperventilating, like you almost got dizzy, because you couldn't breathe any lower than this. That's because you instinctively flexed your abs to keep your butterflies down. Now, here's a better solution. You can control whether you relax your abs or not. You need to just let your abs sag, relax. Let the butterflies go. what I've done when I was younger, especially, I thought of the butterflies as my friends. When the butterflies started, be it 5 days or 5 minutes before performance, that was them tapping me on the shoulder saying, Wayne, it's time for business. It's time for business. Begin to focus. Don't freak out. Focus. Focus on relaxing your abs. Relax on concentration. Focus on the job at hand. You're a professional. It's time to go to work. That's the way I treat it. You turn it around. You flip it completely around. So when your butterflies start, welcome them instead of fearing them. Okay. We'll have another session later.